all up to the same wage. Well, you can't just bring that one guy that was already making $3 more an hour. You're going to have to take him to 18. And then what about a skilled labor job? Someone who comes in at 15, well, you can't pay him what the restaurant down the street because it's a skilled labor position. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit. Yeah. But a lot of people don't think about it. Yeah.
Until it's too late. Right. Right. What do I do with the, if we finish, the outro is not going to say, when you come back, we're going to finish the discussion on. Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay.
And we can go into the automation part too.
Yeah.
So we got a few different ways we could go with it.
We make it stretch out too. Good morning and welcome to Business Matters on Real Talk 93.3. I'm Charles Musgrove and welcome back for another exciting session. Today we're joined by Nick Lowe of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. Nick is a regional director that covers the area from Tallahassee to Pensacola. It's a wide area where he takes care of the members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. And today we are going to discuss a little bit more about the $15 an hour ballot initiative, what that does, the $15 minimum wage increase, where it is in the ballot initiative, and just what that does on jobs outside of the Restaurant and Lodging Association, or those that are in it, those that maybe already have a $15 an hour person that they're paying. We're going to talk about job compression, what that does with the wage compression. So Nick, thank you for joining us for another session. It's good to have you back. And I know this is a topic that's front and center with the FRLA and what they're doing to educate the members, educate the people in the industry on the effects of this. So let's jump into the compression. What happens to the wage compression?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big impact, and thanks for having me on again this week. I really appreciate it. This is a very important topic to us at the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, and my boss, Carol Dover, who's spearheading this effort across the state. The compression piece is a very, very big piece of this, and it's one that people don't think a whole lot about. What do you do with the employee that you're paying $13, $14 an hour now? What do you do when you take them to 15 and then you have to bring another employee up to that $15 an hour wage level? You can't take that $13 or $14 an hour employee and take him to 15. You're going to have to take him $3 or $4 more above that $15 an hour. And that's kind of the compression issue. The larger the company, obviously, the more money it is, but it's the same impact, right? I mean, again, with a smaller independent restaurant, if you have 40 employees, that number could get really big really fast. And
Absolutely. So if you have your experienced cooks that you're paying $15 an hour or 16, but yet your starting wage that you pay that minimum wage cook is now $15, you're going to have to increase the experienced person, or you're going to have a walkout situation on your hands.
That's exactly right. I mean, you've had a restaurant before in the past, and the folks that have the experience, they should make more because they're training the new folks that come in the door. You're paying them for their expertise, and if you don't take care of them accordingly, you're going to have a morale issue inside your restaurant. And all the restaurants and hotel folks, they'll take care of their people,
right?
But it's just going to be a huge financial impact on their business having to do that. And can they keep their doors open after they do that?
Yeah, and that's not just in the restaurant and lodging association. That's in every industry in the state of Florida. They're going to be faced with that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, whether it's your clerk at Publix, whether it's the person working at the gas station, even your skilled labor jobs. Wonder if you look at someone who I've met somebody the other day, and they own a fiber optic cable company, and he's like, I was talking to him about the minimum wage. He's like, I haven't even thought about that. He starts his folks at $15 an hour. It's a skilled position. So what does he do now when an entry-level position where a 14-year-old that we talked on our last episode, we talked about, the 14-year-old who can go work at Chick-fil-A, their first job, never done anything. They're going to learn how to work. They're going to get some work ethic. He's not going to be able to pay his skilled labor person $15. He's going to have to pay him much more than that. So it trickles across all lines of businesses. It's going to touch everybody. It's not going to just touch the hospitality industry. It's going to touch everybody.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Business Matters on Real Talk 93.3. I'm Charles Musgrove, and today we're talking about the $15 an hour wage increase and the ballot initiative for the state of Florida. We're joined by Nick Lowe of the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association. Nick, we had talked about in a previous show about the impact that's expected to have, that's been estimated by the one of the agencies with the federal government, the budget office for the federal government. The numbers are just, they're mind-boggling. What happens if this is to pass, they're expecting to raise 1.3 million people out of poverty. But the offset of that is they expect to lose up to 3.7 million jobs.
That's correct.
By implementing this. That's just for the state of Florida?
No, that is across the country. So that's a country number, not just a state of Florida number.
That's a huge number though. So the numbers are not just that they're big, but they're inverted.
That's right.
So what you think is going to help people hurts people.
That's exactly right, and it hurts them for several different reasons. Not only do you have the cost factor, but they're going to start replacing these workers. Some of the larger companies, and you see it when you walk into places now. Last time when you go to the airport and you check in,
there's a kiosk.
There's a kiosk for you to get your bag tag. You no longer even have to go see the person. If you go to some of the larger airports like New York, I went to a restaurant there. I won't name the restaurant, but I went in and I ordered my food, got a drink, sat down. I wanted a refill on my drink. Well, I saw someone walking through that was just cleaning tables and taking out trash. And I said, can I get a refill? They're like, no, you have to go back through the line and you have to order through the kiosk again and we'll bring you a new drink.
Wow.
So you don't even have that human interaction.
Yeah. Well, that's what you see in McDonald's now. They're replacing people with kiosks.
That's right. And you see it in a lot more companies are going to go to that, especially the larger ones, because it's more cost effective. They don't have to pay, sick leave. They don't have to pay for their benefits. They don't have to worry about any of that. So they're eliminating all those costs. But where that hurts the small independent restaurateur is, can they afford to spend the money on the robotics and technology that some of these larger companies can upfront pay for?
Yeah, that's the big question is, how many people have to implement that technology for the cost to come down to be affordable for the independent restaurant owner? That's an unknown.
Or the independent business. If you're a clothing store, if you're a gas station, if you're a grocery store, it's going to affect everybody.
It is, and I don't think that's an effect that people have fully acknowledged, or that even if they have, that they welcome that. Most people still want to have human interaction when they go to a restaurant, or when they go to a clothing store, when they go out to buy something, when they go to a brick and mortar place. They want to deal with people and not a robot or a kiosk.
That's one of our staples, especially in the hospitality industry, is that, everyone's sitting around a table. It's about bringing everybody together. And I just got to spend a couple days with the former chief marketing officer for Chick-fil-A. And that's Chick-fil-A's mentality. They're implementing technology with people. So if you pull into the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, they've got an iPad, but you know what? There's still a person out in the drive-thru. And at the moment, Chick-fil-A doesn't have any plans to do away with that, because they believe if you come out, they believe in the customer service experience and what you're going to experience as a customer coming in there, and you'll want to come back because of that personal interaction with the employees.
Well, hopefully legislation and new rules don't force companies like Chick-fil-A to make decisions that are not welcomed, or that people really are not going to like in the end. That they may think they're getting a wage increase and that they're helping people with a living wage or to rise out of poverty, but in effect what they're doing is creating a bad situation. They're putting more people out of jobs than what they should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real life issue. This is not, a political issue. This is, again, being the largest industry in the state of Florida, it's going to affect us the most. Like I said last episode, we have 1.6 million employees across the state of Florida. We're the largest employer in the state of Florida. We're also the largest business in the state of Florida. Tourism is the largest industry in the state of Florida.
It is. What do you see with large companies like Disney? Are they getting into the fight to combat this ballot initiative? Are they not? Are they adopting more kiosks, more technology that eventually will reduce the number of employees?
It's a little bit of both. So early on, you saw Disney and McDonald's kind of on the forefront pushing back against the $15 minimum wage. You've seen them kind of come back from that, and I think that's for two reasons. And I'm not speaking on behalf of Disney, and I'm not speaking on behalf of McDonald's. This is just my observation. Is one, talking about the larger companies, they have the money to implement some of the technology that we've talked about. So they have the resources to go out and do that. And then I think the second part is when you're a company that size, you're a lightning rod for public criticism. And everyone knows how big both those companies are. And so I think they weigh the risk in the media fallout from fighting something that public. And
it is a very political issue.
Oh, for sure. So I think they just decide that hey, we're not going to get in the middle of it. We'll just go to it. We've got the resources to do it. But again, you're talking, at least on the Disney side, even though it's considered hospitality and they have food and drink and everything in there, the profit margins aren't the same with Disney as they are in an independent restaurant.
If you've been to Disney, you understand that when you get a Coke, when you get a hot dog or a sandwich, and the ticket prices are crazy. So yeah, that they're competing in a different arena than what the independent restaurant or business owner are competing.
That's correct. And it's the same thing with McDonald's. I mean, their volume, they're operating off volume. But again, for them to hit their profit numbers, and again, we were talking about how small that margin is, the way they'll make that margin, automation. That's where they'll go.
Yeah, that's where we're headed, is more automation as the regulations kick in, as ballot initiatives across the United States kick in that increases the minimum wage. You're going to see more of the automation, more of the kiosk as you go into retail outlets and restaurants. Nick, thank you again for joining us on Business Matters. I'm Charles Musgrove with the Dean Team. We discuss the topics that matter to your business. We'll be right back after the break.